I would go to the beach at night with my family, and I would question why are the stars the way they are? Why are some brighter than the other ones? Why do some look bigger? And I would hear about galaxies, I would hear about constellations. I would get chills looking at the stars, and I would be like, okay, I think I want to study this.
When I was younger, my brother and I used to lay down in our yard, looking at the sky, trying to figure out what's beyond the stars. And that has been one of the vivid memories that I had growing up. It's always trying to figure out what's next. How can we see beyond what we see?
I really like to analyze and explore things that are not obvious to the eye when you start looking for it.
An early moment of curiosity in my life was when I was 4 years old and I accidentally touched the electric socket with the fork. And that taught me a lot about electricity and also really disciplined me to where I started to fraction that off into everything I started doing. If I'm scared, there's a possibility there's a good outcome to it, but I will never know if I don't try.
We had one physics teacher. He at some level had another commitment. He comes in the room and he turns on the water tap. And he asks the class, okay, I have to go. If I come back, can you tell me what's the water pressure? And this was interesting because normally indeed we were happy as can be if the teacher wasn't there. You do whatever you want. The whole class was trying to figure out, how can you do this? And all he did was turn the water tap on and he asked this question and we were all staring at each other.
My favorite thing about being a physicist is the creativity of the job, in the sense that you get to let your imagination run, especially as a theorist. You really can be creative and pursue some ideas and see how they work out, and I like that a lot.
I was in love with math, but then in physics I saw like a way of taking that math and doing things and seeing things.
It's like there are no limits and you will always find something different you can look into.
My favorite thing about being a scientist is the trial and error that goes along into it. So the scientific method in general. Even if you do fail, that's sort of the beauty of it, continuing to try. And I would argue that the experiments that are the most rewarding and satisfying are the ones where it took a few trials and errors to actually get to where you want it and get to destination D.
You're surrounded by your own passions and dreams. You meet a lot of people with different ideas and different projects, and so getting to meet different people and what they're doing in another realm of physics is really interesting, and then coming together and kind of solving problems together is actually really cool.
I love feeling like I'm doing something that matters, because it's so easy to be an influencer nowadays, but being able to further human knowledge makes me feel like I'm doing something important.
You can still contribute to a body of science that nobody else has ever touched before. So you're standing on shoulders of giants, and eventually one day you'll be those giants. And so you're gonna be contributing to that, and not everybody can say that.
We are a very diverse university with lots of different types of students. I felt that it was a great opportunity for us to help our students. Also because being a theorist, sometimes I recruited undergrads to work with me, but not always I had opportunity to fund them. And so I felt like this was excellent for me to finally be able to support the students that work with me, and also to make them feel that they are being rewarded for their work, which is important for them.
One of the reasons I wanted to start the traineeship program that is led by the Department of Energy, Office of Science and Nuclear Physics Office, is my own personal interest in diversifying the field. I'm African by origin, and it's always an issue or some concern to see only a few of us in this field. As a matter of fact, over the past 30 years, it's a flat graduation of PhDs in the US of about 100 PhD students. So we need to change that so that we can make more opportunities to everybody who wants to become a nuclear physicist.
We have, since 20, 30 years, tried to work more or less on giving people chances to do science. We think that what we're doing is cool, and everybody should have the chance to do that.
What made me want to be a part of this traineeship program was that it was a pretty good chance to, I guess, get a different perspective of what other students across the country in physics are going through. This is a good idea to see what students from Michigan State do, Texas A&M, Houston, et cetera, and get to gauge and ask questions.
Through this program, I got connected to the Electron Ion Collider, where I met some really cool professors and staff scientists at national labs, and they got me really interested in nuclear physics. I didn't realize how broad the field is and how many opportunities there are.
There are a few ideas in these traineeship programs, like paying the students to do research and helping them present that research that is in agreement with the chances that I had as a student that allow me to be successful. And so I want to reproduce that environment for other students so that they can be successful in science and improve their lives and the lives of their families.
I think the hardest obstacle I had to overcome was during my first and second years of undergrad. And this is because for a long time, I think longer than I knew that I wanted to do physics, I wanted to be a basketball player. So at UC Riverside, that's what I tried to do. And I tried to do it with physics hand in hand. I wanted to walk onto the team. And it got to a point where it was just so draining for me because I just didn't love it as much as physics. I really wanted to put more of my time into doing work in the lab and studying, because I've really found that interesting. I found that, what my calling should be. It was very tough because a lot of, I guess, my African-American identity at the time, so I thought, came from playing basketball and the culture aspect of things. And, the network that I knew was all surrounded by hooping and, talking about sports and all that. And, for me being biracial, that was really a struggle because for me to kind of segue away from that. And for a time, it felt like I was abandoning myself in a sense and who I am. But then as time went on, I think, and different people started mentoring me, I really felt more so drawn to be a physicist. And I felt, in fact, I was more so embracing my truest self to the fullest by pursuing physics head first.
I actually come from a very, how would I say this, challenging family, and I struggled a lot with mental health as a kid. And so I thought that it was kind of impossible for me to achieve my dreams. But fortunately, because of the supportive people like my PIs and mentors, they saw potential in me and they didn't give up on me. And I am here now and I'm doing all of the things that I dreamt of, and I'm very glad I didn't give up.
Being a woman in physics, I have witnessed, many of my students come to me who are women and they tell me that, they don't dare to wear a skirt at a conference because they think that people don't take them seriously, or high heels, they think that that's wrong. So I try to maintain a femininity in my job, which I hope can be an inspiration for the younger female who, many of them feel this pressure of looking like men so that people can think they are smart enough to be physicists. I hope that I can contribute to them feeling better about themselves and being able to express whatever they feel like they should look like.
So a time I almost gave up on college in general was actually this year, my sophomore year. My mental health got really bad and I was taking some difficult courses in physics, but I did have my family and my parents, and they pushed me and they told me it's okay, just try your best. And that really helped me push forward, and I was able to pass both those courses.
One of the biggest challenge when I started studying as an undergrad was the language barrier. I'm not a native English speaker. And I think what kept me going was having this support of the Hispanic community, people who were on the same place I was, and just having them encourage me to just keep going and not having that as a roadblock.
I did the undergrad in Mexico. Most of the physics I learned was in Spanish. And words have a weight. So when you learn a word in a different language, it doesn't hold the same meaning as in the second language. So a lot of the things I had to relearn them again, and that was a little bit hard, but it didn't stop me for trying because you feel like you can be better.
As a father, I want to give up a lot because life is hard. But when I got into school, it got even harder for trying to be there with them and be on top of my stuff. But the more I kept pushing myself to stay in school to show them that you have to do it, no one's going to hold your hand. My parents did that for me, so I have to continue on pulling my own strength. And the way I get over it is I think about my ancestors, what they've been through.
I'm a mom of two. I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they inspired me because I wanted them to be represented in the field of STEM. I wanted them to see a woman Hispanic being able to accomplish great things in the physics field.
So one of my spirit, I would say, is that I don't see problems. I see challenges. When there's a will, there's a way. It's always a matter of moving forward.
I want to be a scientist. I really want to work at a national lab, and I want to have a scientist in my job title. My dream position is to work with really big detectors and get to wear a hard hat around the job.
I want to be a researcher. That's what I love, doing research.
I see myself being a professor at a university while also leading research in physics.
I want to be a nuclear physicist working in fusion energy. That was my main passion ever since I started looking up what fusion energy was.
I want to be an astrophysicist, and I want to be the first Native American to really make an impact within NASA.
I want to be able to be someone's role model. I want them to look up to me and be like, I want to be like her. I want to be like her. I want to be able to, show people that women in STEM and being Hispanic, and being a first generation of my family to actually graduate, it's a big accomplishment.
I think if you have a passion or interest, everything will be fine. And there's a lot of things you can do with a physics degree. I have seen people going to finance, going to movies, and teaching industry. With a physics degree, you can do a lot of things.
You should stay the path. If you have a vision and you work on it, most of the time it gets realized, even if you sometimes feel like it takes longer or you don't see the end. Just stay focused, and I think you can achieve it.
The path will always not be exactly what you expect it to be. And the finish line is not necessarily where you think it is. And then many times there's no finish line. Trust that if you're in a place that makes you feel happy and makes you feel peaceful about where you're at and gives you that intrinsic sense of I should be here, keep pursuing that, but also at the same time, let the journey pursue you.
Things will change, your opinion will change, and that is okay. You don't have to make a decision now about what you want to do. If you do, it's fine, of course, but there's a very strong possibility it will change, and it's going to be just okay.
Just put yourself out there. Even if you are scared of rejection, the worst that you can be told is no, but most of the times I was told yes, and they really do encourage initiative. So I would say that don't let your upbringings bring you down and stop you from achieving your dreams.
There were times where I felt hopeless about things, and I didn't want to continue, and that I wasn't good enough. But my career advice is you should just never give up your dream, never give up your hope, because it's still out there. And one small step back is not going to completely derail you off the course, right? You just need to pick it up a little bit.
On behalf of the Department of Energy, the Office of Sciences, Office of Nuclear Physics, I want to thank y'all. And by y'all, I mean the students, the mentors, the administrators, the grants officers, for providing this incredible opportunity. And I look forward to working in step with each of you as we move forward to do the best nuclear science that we can do. Thanks.